Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creator Notes podcast, where we get up close and personal with your favorite creators and talk about all things content and creating. I am your host, Zombieslvbacon, and today I am joined by the Average Rook. Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Welcome on in. Now, before we get started, can we call you Rook? Is that fine? Or
Yeah, I go by Rook. You can also call me Mitch, which is my actual name. I don't give a shit if you want to say that.
Okay, no, good. that works fine. Rook is what's the story behind the name? The Rook, is it?
Okay, that's a very good question. So when I was starting out playing video games, I think it started with I actually one day bought the Orange Box, which, if you don't remember, was a collection of Steam games. So that had it had Portal 2. No, it didn't have Portal 2. It had Portal 1. It had all of the Half-Life 2 games, and it also had Team Fortress 2. So I started a little bit on Team Fortress 2, and I thought, it was okay game, but I needed a community to play because I didn't really want to play with too many randoms. So, funnily enough, I stumbled upon a furry server called Aussie Ferocity, which was a server that catered to playing Team Fortress 2 and Left 4 Dead 2 for the Australian, American, and the United Kingdom groups. And through there, I sort of developed the name Rook. Basically from there, because rooks, aka ravens, were my favorite bird.
There you go. Okay.
And then I just sort of stuck.
Yeah. So let's go back. How long have you been? Let's say gaming to start with. Let's go with just gaming in general. What was your first console or gaming
in general? Yeah. Gaming in general probably started when I was about, I want to say 5 years old, maybe 6. I started playing like Quake 1 and Wolfenstein 3D and Doom at the same time that I was playing learning games like the Clue Finders and Magic School Bus for some reason.
Excellent.
But I was also, actually, that might not have even been the first game that I played. I think the first game that I ever played was, it was either Alleyway or Wario Land 2 for the Game Boy Color.
Right,
and while that was also my first time playing games, it was also the first time that I nearly got shit scared playing video games. I remember one time when I was playing Wario Land 2, and there was a moment where Wario caught on fire, and then he turned into a ball of ash that was like just shuffling around. And then the moment he transformed back, scared the shit out of me. And I nearly, I chucked my, I chucked my purple Game Boy Color straight across the room, nearly hit a wall. Holy shit.
I think the thought of Wario full stops kind of was scary as a child for me. I think it's just like, what is this? Are we meant to like this person? Because he's kind of the... It's kind of the creepy uncle kind of vibe. It's just
oh god, he really is, yeah.
It's cool. I mean, it's interesting because all the games that you talk about or you mentioned as sort of your gaming experience, I think for a lot of people, they had
that shit would be scary. Yep. But for me, it wasn't. I got shit scared by like the pixelated stuff. Like, I don't play Pokemon anymore because back then I got shit scared by the purple flashing screen and the sound that came up whenever you got poisoned. And then years later, when I decided to play it back, I saw one video of, it was like my first introduction to the existence of Glitch City, which is apparently a little area that you can access if you walk like 1,000 steps, and then you appear you appear inside of the Safari Zone entryway, and then when you exit out, it's Glitch City, and it's all glitches, everything is moving. That scares the fuck out of me.
Oh, man. Yeah, okay. So obviously gaming pretty much your whole life, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. At what point did you go, okay, well, I like gaming, but now I want to like make content. I want to make like YouTube videos, or like what sort of spurred that on?
Okay, well, technically I started gaming content creation October 2019, but I was dabbling a little bit before then. Back in the days when YouTube, you were able to make some pretty weird wallpapers to put in the backgrounds of your channels. You know how fucked up they looked?
Yeah,
back then I was like doing a little dabbling with trying to make a Let's Play out of System Shock 2 at the time. I didn't really do anything with it, and actually, I was technically on YouTube at the time and putting videos up, but what I was doing was I was making little songs through like music programs like EJ and Super Duper Music Looper. I was putting that stuff up there, and they were all cringe.
I used to mess with EJ so much. They were all cringe.
They were all cringe. I mean, it felt good at the time, but when you look back at it, oh, what the hell was I making?
Compared to now, it's...
Yeah, like compared to now, you can make some pretty good shit on like BandLab and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, EJ it's like a toy now.
EJ was shit. I found like a disc of Techno EJ. It was like on special in EB Games or something. I just picked that up and just started making songs.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that like so many people have like, you think what YouTube is now. YouTube is now almost like Netflix, right?
Yeah,
like it's ads, there's subscriptions, and people are making fully fledged shows, and people are watching it instead of watching, network TV. Back then, it was just this creative space where anyone does whatever the hell they want, and it was weird most of the time.
It was weird. It like had barely little moderation to it.
True. Yeah, you could find anything pretty much. It was a wild space. And I played a lot around in YouTube, mainly because I didn't have internet to do anything more than recorded content and then edit and then upload and hope for the best that in 3 days time it made it. And
if you didn't have like an actual program using the free like Windows Live Movie Maker to make your shit, that's what I did.
I never ever did. That was oh man. But look, that was the start for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people don't realize how good it is now.
Oh yeah.
Like the programs alone just make it so easy, and the fact that people complain NBN was slow. I mean, they haven't experienced slow until they went back to the early YouTube and
try waiting 30 seconds on dial-up.
Exactly.
When all you want to do is just like play Cartoon Network games and also play a little bit of RuneScape. Like you're waiting a long time, bruv. And for me, it was like my grandparents' line, so I had to make sure that they weren't like on the internet themselves are wanting to call before I could use a dial-up.
Yeah, like we've lost half our audience just talking about it because they just don't understand that people, they use these phones that were wired, and also our internet used through those same phones.
You complain that you have slow, you don't know what pain is.
You have no idea.
Yeah, so that was pretty much like when I started, but I didn't do anything serious with it until October 2019. But the lead up to that is bizarre. So when I finished year 12, I wanted to get into landscape architecture. Like, before you viewers, this is going to be a gigantic tangent. It's going to seem non-secular. Just stay with me for a little bit. I'll try to hurry it up.
Stay with us. We promise there's a payoff. It's worth it.
So I started landscape well, actually, I wanted to be an architect. I didn't get through that, but I got into landscape architecture.
Okay.
I failed the first semester, passed the second semester so I could do the first semester again next year, and then failed the first semester one more time. And then I decided maybe I should do something different with my life. I decided I wanted to be a games designer because that seemed pretty cool.
Same thing, really.
I went to the adjudicators or whatever, and they said that the best way to get into it is to do like a multimedia aspect of Advanced Diploma of Screen and Media. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. But first I did Diploma of Screen and Media. So I did a lot of film stuff and working out scripts and stuff like that. I passed that. I passed the second, I passed Advanced Diploma of Screen and Media. So I graduated in both of those. And then I decided I didn't want to be in games design. University was fucked, to be perfectly honest, because I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do for most of my time. I switched from games design to I wanted to be a writer. No, actually, I wanted to be a screenwriter of sorts.
Okay.
But I didn't pick like a specific screenwriting course. I went to creative writing, which is a lot of just actual writing and some poetry and stuff like that. I went through that. I started wanting to write books, so I wrote like 2 or 3 chapters as an assessment for my last year, and that was 3 years. And then I decided that writing books was boring for some reason. I still have like chapters left over from the last book that I tried to write, and I don't know when I'm going to come back to that. And then I wanted to get back into film stuff, but I wanted to be a video editor. And I was looking online I kept applying for jobs, and they kept saying, in order to be a video editor, in order to get into stuff like this, you need outside experience. Like, they won't count academic experience from university. Right. But I was thinking, like, what the heck could I possibly do? And then it clicked. I like video games, and I like YouTubers. Why don't I just, like, record myself playing video games, get myself a camera, and just edit that and put that on YouTube, do that for 3 years. So that started in October 2019. I think specifically October 15th was when I put my first video up, and that was like the first episode of Indivisible, which was a pretty okay game. And funnily enough, that was like a month or so before COVID hit. At the time, I had like casual jobs. I was trying to earn money, and then it suddenly hit me that I couldn't go out and do any work, but I had all this time to make YouTube videos. So that's basically what I did for the entire year.
Yeah.
And then, and that's basically how it started.
I mean, a lot of people started podcasts during COVID. Not me. I mean, actually I did, but that's not the point. It's but yeah, it's funny you say that, because I had the short note, but I had the exact same experience when I was finishing high school and looking at going to uni. I went to and talked to all these people that were filmmakers and whatever else, and they all said uni's a complete waste of time. If you don't have on-the-job experience and you don't know how to do it, they're never ever going to hire you. So I just basically called it there, and I left school and went and started filming, editing. But I went down the path of they wouldn't hire me, so then I just hire myself as a volunteer. I say, you don't have to pay me, I'm just coming with you. And we ended up doing weddings and live events and news things, and I ended up falling into making commercials. So
wow.
I learned so much in the space of like 6 to 8 months of just, it's not even freelance, just free labor. But it's the same thing. It's like the people that go to uni for 4 years or 5 years and they had the piece of paper that says, hey, I know how to make films. Useless. Because then, like, I walked into this guy's office and he's like, what software do you use? I'm like, oh, well, I've used this and this before. He's like, rubbish. You learn the Final Cut, you come back and see me. That's what he said. That's it. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just had to go find Final Cut and then, on a budget of nothing because no one's paying you, and learn it and then come back and away you go. And that was like my in. But I also found that it's very cutthroat industry. Like you're never ever going to have the job security of, I'm going to work in this one place.
Absolutely not.
It just doesn't exist. So for me, it was like, well, that was fun. I'm going to go do a job that pays now and start making YouTube videos, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, the COVID was like, and it's sort of becoming a theme with everyone I talk to. It's like a canon event, right? Yeah. It happened, and then everything changed. And like everyone was on one trajectory, and then COVID happened, and it's like, well, I'm going to do this now. And then like there's streamers and stuff that I talk to, and they're like, yeah, I started streaming in 2020 because I used to be working television. COVID happened, and we didn't really have much work going on, so I just started making online content and never stopped. And away I went. And it's like, if COVID never happened, I'd still be making television. So
I feel like that's kind of like the story of how Toast Rack, Toast Rack TV?
That is Toast Rack. Yeah, Toast Rack has got, yep. Yeah. So used to work for television, and then it's just basically, he knew what he was doing, so he just started up, and now he's full-time partnered streamer, Tarkov.
I remember hearing that story of his from I think was probably the same panel that you were on at last DreamHack.
Yep. And there's so many other people, the same sort of story where it's just like, they had one life, COVID happened, and then they just...
Now we have another life.
And you have a different life, it's just changed, so... But Yeah, so it's interesting. It's funny that we do talk about TV because I did notice on your application, which I think that we have to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't know if do you want me to read what you wrote, or do you want to sort of give us the gist of like how does this happen?
How about you read it out and then I'll elaborate.
All right. So you've written here. Okay, so we got my gaming content on YouTube actually got the attention of a talent scout for Channel 9's Beauty and the Geek Australia 2021 season, and they asked you to apply. You couldn't make a proper intro video, so you sent them an episode 1 of your Quest for Glory 4 Shadow of Darkness playthrough as your intro video.
Okay. So
how does that work?
So fun fact, Quest for Glory is a series by Sierra Online. Yep. Made by a family, last name is called, a series of 5 games, but they're doing more after that. And it's just, this was during like the DOS era. But then they started making VGA versions of it, and they were the shit. Like, Quest for Glory 4 Shadows of Darkness had actual voice acting in it. It was the first one in the series. It had voice actors of Jennifer Hale, and it also had John Rhys Davies in it, if you can believe that. Yeah. He was a narrator.
What era are we talking about? What era did that come out?
Like, I feel like this was like 94, 95.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
right. So you were playing that in 2021.
Actually, yes, I was. I was playing through that entire series while I was working through like the first year of my my content creation stuff. Yep. And somehow, like out of the blue, some person on like Messenger slips into my DMs and say, "Hey, I'm a talent scout for this this show. Would you like to apply?" Now, at first, I thought it was a bit of a scam. Like it just slipped into my. So I actually talked to my parents about it just to see what they thought of it, and they thought it was pretty legit. So I went back and said, "Yeah, I'll apply for this." So I did the whole like forms and stuff like that, the whole questionnaire stuff. Seemed to pass through with flying colors. And then they asked, we need you to make like an intro video sort of thing on the phone and give it to it. And I didn't really have the time or the resources to do it. But what I did have was I was about to upload my very first video of Quest for Glory 4 Shadows of Darkness on YouTube. And I thought I'd ask them, would this be suitable for an intro video? It would at least showcase my personality, and they thought, yeah, go with it. And it seemed to work because
you got the
I managed to get through
your whole episode of your walkthrough.
Well, he probably only watched like 15 seconds of it. So
could you imagine from their point of view what they're like? They would have got all these other videos. It's like, hey, I'm so and so, and I'm interested in this, and then you're like, welcome to episode 1.
Welcome to the Average Rook. We are playing
Quest for Glory 4 Shadows of Darkness.
And they're like, this guy's unique. We can do something with this.
Yeah. This guy's in. This is it. Because I suppose it would be, wouldn't it? It would be absolutely unique. No one at all would. Oh, that's so. So, did you ever cotton? Like, they just found you at random on YouTube? Like, is it?
They must have, yeah. Because I was only posting on there. I didn't even have Instagram at the time until after I did the show.
Right.
Because they needed a platform for us to. They weren't going to use Twitter or anything. They were specifically only going to use Instagram, and they needed something for us to advertise the shows. So anyone who didn't have an Instagram got an Instagram.
Okay, all right. So let's go back a step because Talent Scout comes out. They message you. You figure out it's all legit. You sign up for everything. You send them a walkthrough, and they say, "Perfect, you're in."
Yeah.
Like what happens next? Was it like you have to sort of drop everything and go somewhere, or
not quite? So right after that worked, they asked me to do like a sort of in-person interview.
Yep.
Talk about myself. I had to go to, I think, the Melbourne Showgrounds. There was like a conference center there that they had it set up. It was a very hot day, by the way, on October that I had to do that. And I did that. I talked about myself. A little snippet of that is in the first episode. Not going to advertise. Moving on. So yeah, later on, a little thing about that is when on the lead up to going to Sydney to do that, they asked a lot of us to not cut our hair and not shave our beards. So a lot of the episodes of my playthroughs on YouTube leading up to me leaving was just me growing a beard and not saying why. Like, I could not say why.
We need you to really emphasize the fact that you don't shower for the months leading up.
I mean, it could have been slightly explained away with COVID, but nerds aren't really that dirty. So, like a week before I had to leave, they actually called me up and said, okay, we would like you to, still not cut your hair, but we'd like you to shave. And I had this like real whispery thing going on, and I'm like, thank goodness! I didn't want that beard anyway. I have a thing against like facial hair on myself. Okay. I don't like it.
I'm glad you said on yourself. I was about to be offended, but that's okay.
Yeah. So just as I was about to leave, it was my very last episode of my playthrough of the Evil Within DLC, The Executioner, I think, when I was doing and I did not pass that. That was a rage-inducing bit. At the very end, I couldn't get past through Sebastian Castellanos and Jojo or whatever. Yeah, so I'm we're like a few days away from having to fly away to Sydney, and I was at Northland with my mom buying clothes, some new clothes just to replace the stuff that I had to take with me to Sydney. While I was changing into the clothes, I got a call from one of the people working on the film that it turns out that there's going to be a lockdown in effect very soon. Like Dan Andrews had said there was going to be something like that. So we actually need to get you on like a minibus / van and hightail it a big road trip out to Sydney. And surprisingly enough, as soon as that call ended, the song Unwell by Matchbox 20 was playing over the speakers, and I'm like, this is too real.
And at that point, you find out it's actually the Truman Show.
Oh, if only. Wish I could just like, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, explain myself away, but like, nah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I had to race home, get all of my clothes into my suitcases, rush over to the Melbourne Showgrounds where everyone was waiting. And yeah, we took like I want to say it's between 8 to 11 hours, I'm not quite sure, all the way to Sydney to make sure that we made it over the barricades. And it was actually like before I was going to sleep, when we finally got to the hotel, that was like the first time and only time I actually cried throughout the session where I was filming, because when I got there, like, we were all so stressed. Yeah. And so I was going to put my head down, plug my phone in, and just go to sleep. And then for some reason I couldn't find my phone charger. And my phone was like at like 45% and it was dwindling. I actually cried because I thought I wasn't going to be able to communicate with anyone and I was going to be stuck there. And now it seems so silly because from the last day where we actually went back to our original locations, I looked inside. My bag has a very nifty little compartment that's upside down. And I didn't realize at the time that my mom actually put my phone charger in that one pocket. I mean, at least I got the staff to, like, go to JB Hi-Fi and buy a phone charger for me. So, like, yeah. But, like, I cried for nothing. Oh, man. But, like...
It's a wild time.
It was wild time, yeah. But I absolutely loved being on that show. Just getting to do all of the stuff that I did then. I did like a zoo challenge. I did performative wrestling, which was awesome. All of the stuff was amazing, and I got to meet like so many friends of that. And I really got to add to this, like, if it wasn't for Beauty and the Geek, I actually wouldn't have the friends that I do right now, and I wouldn't even be speaking with you. Okay. Because, funnily enough, about a year after, maybe a couple of months after I did that show and it was airing, James, who was one of the other geeks on there, invited me to go like an after party at Fortress for Supernova, and we're gonna talk about that because that's not Slay. But I met a lot of cosplayers on there, including our mutual friend Al Damone.
Okay, yeah, yep.
And it was through her that I met a lot of the other peeps. Like I met Momo, I met Maydream, I met a bunch of other streamers and cosplayers, and it really grew from that. If it wasn't for Beauty and the Geek, that stuff wouldn't have happened, and I would just go back to the whole like introverted life that I would have led before I went on Beauty and the Geek.
That's crazy. So, like, I mean, the premise of the show is to transform. So you feel like it worked then?
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, did it.
Or at least it added the potential there. If I didn't do anything else with it, then it would have just been wasted potential. But yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's like, it's crazy. And I know from like, TV is one thing. Like you, if you watch a show or whatever, it's one thing. But then being involved in the whole production side of things, particularly if you're someone who wants to be involved in that sort of stuff,
and also particularly someone who has done a little bit of like television behind the scenes work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what's the word? It's like it's not quite inspiring, but it's like it just gets you fired up. It gets you motivated.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I reckon I could do these sort of things. Or, it's not that bad being on television in front of millions of people. And, how bad can it be to be on the internet and stuff like that? Like, for I had at a, not the same situation, but I've been on reality TV as well. And
what show?
I was on The Block.
Ooh. Were you one of the contestants or?
No. I was so the contestants need to buy bits and pieces to put together their house.
Oh, and you would have been working at Mutter 10 at the time.
I'm the guy they brought the stuff from for 5 seasons.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was crazy because like I said earlier, I pivoted away from film and television because it was just too much hard work to get stable work, and then I went and got a job and started working in hardware, and then ended up on TV. So it's like,
so funny how that works out.
Yeah, and originally it was just a matter of like, oh, who cares? It's just whatever. It was back when The Block was sort of getting that sort of its reboot when it moved to Melbourne and stuff. And I thought, no one cares about this anyway. I was on the ad, and people were starting to recognize me. Like I was in an elevator, and a guy goes, "I know you from somewhere." I'm like, don't think so. It's like, and I saw the ad, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, like all the silly things of like, you don't want to look like an idiot on the internet, and you don't want to show your face on stream and stuff. Who cares when you're on a show? Like, Block I got a gold Logie, okay? So
God.
Millions of people watched it. And like I did it for part of, I wanted to, my work was, we were making money off it and everything else. And then there was always the people like, all right, who wants to be on camera? And it's like, I'll do it. I'll take the bullet. I'll do it for the team, and yeah, you're right. So it was an interesting process, but I just remember coming out of that and going, oh, all the other stuff I used to worry about in content creation means nothing now. It's like, that's so little compared to just doing dumb shit on TV in front of, many, many people. Well, I will say, and I think you'll find the same thing. Being somewhat, somewhat famous on the internet is not the same as being famous on TV where your parents and family and stuff can see it and share it. I know.
Sort of. Yeah, I sort of get where you're at, but also there's like a thing where the fame of like internet stuff and then the fame of being a celebrity on television is very different. It's also a little bit jarring, to be perfectly honest, because the stuff that you do on the internet is long-term stuff, and that's going to be on there until the platform kicks you off for doing something really, really stupid.
Pretty much,
And then, like, maybe you might have a bit of a record of your television stuff before that gets kicked off, but that stuff seems so temporary. It seems so fleeting, and it's just, when, like the celebrity status, like, I don't feel like I had that. But when that was seeping in, I didn't even like take advantage of that. I was so scared of it. And then afterwards, when that dissipated, I'm like, you know what? This really isn't like, I'm not a celebrity, but this is nothing. People keep putting like value onto us for something that we did on television. We are the human equivalent of cryptocurrency. That's exactly what we are.
The value went up, and then
we're humans. We're nothing until someone puts value on us when they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel comfortable having like being just known for doing television, and that's kind of what I wanted to like. That's why I wanted to sort of like kick it into high gear, even though I really don't think like I've done too much with my streaming. But with my content creation, I wanted to make that my legacy of sorts. I wanted that to be who I was.
Yeah, I absolutely get that. You're 100% right. And the reason why it sort of just you triggered a memory for me is because when we were doing all this stuff with Channel 9 and whatever, they're like, everyone has to have an Instagram account, everyone has to have a Twitter account, you need to leverage and promote the show, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you had a Twitter account? Lucky fuck.
Twitter was cool back then. It wasn't. It's going back a while now, but it's like I just remember all that stuff, and then because I did multiple seasons, it's like all the contestants would just basically just go out the window, new crew in. These are the cool people now. Forget about the old type people, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I like the old people, but it's like it's such a bizarre thing. And I remember the thing for me, and I totally get what you mean, because the thing for me was they do like. We film the show, and then when we're finishing filming the show is when the show starts airing. So they're like, oh, look at these people, they've just started. And I'm like, I've already seen the finished product and we already know what happens. But then like there'll be super fans that would like come looking for contestants and stuff, thinking like they'll see them on the show and they say, it'll be like next week they're going to be, at Albert Park building tents or whatever. And then all these fans will show up at Albert Park the next week thinking it's all live. And it's like, guys, no, it's television. It's not real. It's reality television. It's kind of real, but that's not the point.
When people don't realize that reality TV isn't done live, okay? Like
it's television, and also it shouldn't be that important in your life. Where
it really isn't. It's like it's only just one little reality thing. Like doing like being on like I don't know Doctor Who or something like that. Like that would be tremendous. Being on just a reality television. Where you're going to have to hope that you don't do something stupid or else people are going to bag you for the rest of your life. It's just nothing. It really isn't.
But look, even then though, like look, we're not going to go too far into it, but I did some shit on the block that was enough to cause some drama. And it was good for about a year, and then it disappeared. No one cared anymore. It was fine. But I did end up in TV Week.
Wow.
So it was that kind of drama. When they put on the front page of TV Week, they're like, this week on the block, so-and-so is so-and-so. And I was in there. I caused some beef. Those who know will know, but it's to your point, it disappears. It vanishes. And it's gone. And then there's more meaningful things that I've done for myself in my own ways that will last so much longer. And people, it's more meaningful is basically where it comes down to. Reality TV, unfortunately, the reality of reality TV is it's cheap TV. That's why there's so much of it.
Do you ever get like the people, the sort of podcasters who try to, it's like the Australian versions of, the Australian versions of Keemstar,
Yeah. It's that commentary, which there's an entire audience in its own that just live in this little bubble, and they just have they just talk about drama that they watched on television. They'll literally, I think they'll watch an episode of something, and then they just get out their phone and they just start just commentary on everything. And that probably Channel 9 wanted that sort of stuff in this case, because that's why they wanted people to like live tweet along and stuff like that. And and like I said, we film things well in advance. Yeah. So like I did all this stuff, had no idea that I've caused any drama or anything. It was like late one night. I used to keep the store open if we had to film late or whatever. Yeah. I was just talking to some of the contestants, like, oh, we did interviews about you today for TV Week. I'm like, what did I do? And like, oh, that whole thing, a couple months back or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay. Is it really an issue? Like, no, not really. It's not a big deal. It was a big deal when it got to TV because they just pumped up the drama, got people talking about it. They had a picture of me. They posted it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything else, just because they were just pumping the drama, right?
Oh my God.
But we didn't even know it was happening. That's the level of drama in reality there was not
They don't even tell you that stuff. They wait until it goes on air before they say anything.
Yep. They do it. And that's reality TV. I'm sorry for anyone listening who's got their favorite reality TV show. They think that it's perfectly real and everything else.
Yeah,
it's
for the viewers
very manufactured still.
Yeah, for the viewers at home, like you wouldn't think of this, but the film crews and the production team and probably the people who are financing it have their agendas for what happens on camera. They will either let something happen and don't say anything for it to show up on air, or they might actually try to push it.
Yes,
for
they
it
do.
to happen.
They push it,
and they do.
They push it. They go, hey, did you know that so and so said that about you? And they're like, why would you tell them that? It's it's like, I remember it was one episode. It was one of the later episodes that I did, and it was like the intro bit where they kind of like they knock a few contestants out. And they came into the store and they're buying all this paint and stuff, and they're like, I'm like, okay, is there anything else that you need? And they're like what? Like, how does this work? I'm like, well, what do you need to renovate? She's like, do we do the renovating? I'm like, yeah, you have to do the renovating. She's like, no one told us that we have to do it. And I just looked at, like, I made eye contact with the producer, and she just looked at me, and she knew exactly what she was doing. She just put these poor suckers in there, and they have no idea how to do anything. They thought that, like, when the cameras are off, the builders come in and fix everything. But and I'm just like, you're gonna need everything. And I spent like an hour explaining how to do all this stuff to them, but they didn't make it past the one episode because they weren't there for that. They were there to play a role in the story, so to speak. So it's crazy to think the way that television works and how different it is to like YouTube is a great example where YouTube is. Well, most of YouTube, most of your favorite creators are authentic in some way, right? I won't say all of them because there's definitely ones out there that just create nonsense for no reason. They'll be like if they're trying to tell a story or they're trying to do a project or they're renovating a car or playing through a game or going overseas or whatever. It's like an authentic story. It's pretty well done. Where they if something goes wrong, it happens and it's riveting watching and whatever. In reality TV in particular, they just kind of push it towards things going wrong all the time to make those moments, and it all kind of becomes a bit fake. And it's just what it is, unfortunately. But it's good to know that some people, I won't say everyone again, but some people come out of that and they have that perspective and they immediately go, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this that I'm actually more passionate about and actually get into and like it. And like you said, you came out of it. It provided you with some opportunities. You jumped on it, and now you're where you are now, and it's, I guess it's a positive story out of it, and because some people, they get, to your earlier sort of comments, they get caught up on that. Oh, I'm a celebrity from this reality TV show from how many years ago, and
we're not.
And they just sort of they just make it their entire personality, and it's like, how long can you? Do this for?
And that really generates a lot of red flags, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it does, and like. Obviously, this whole podcast is a new project for me, and I got a fair few applicants to begin with, and it's like you read through it, and there's a lot of people that are further along in their content journey and whatever, and they might be doing big numbers or working with big brands or whatever else, but their journey doesn't necessarily have that many twists and turns and such in it. It's just they got a really good computer at the right time when everyone else couldn't afford one, and they got fast internet when the rest of Australia couldn't have it, and then they got lucky, And it's like, well, that's fine, but I like to hear the people that are like, I started playing this obscure title and got discovered, and away I went and did this, and that sort of thing. It's just it's more interesting, but everyone has a different path, is my point. And
I mean, I got myself a beast computer, but I didn't buy it specifically because it was a beast. I bought it specifically because I needed something for the video editing to make it fast. When I was doing my video editing for, I'm sorry to put this on to a bit of a tangent.
No, you're right.
When I was originally doing my video editing, it was like 3 years of trying to work out what codecs and what bit rates were going to work with YouTube, and also how fast it was going to take for me to not only edit but also upload the stuff like that. Like originally
100%.
I had just like a 2070 graphics card or something like that, and every time I tried to encode so that I could like have the video, it took hours.
Yep.
It took so many hours, and then I decided to save up and then splurge onto this beast that I'm currently using right now. And it was such a godsend because it allowed me to. It's got like it's got a 3080 in there, but it's only got like one fan, so it's a bit of a glass cannon, or at least a glass cannon that's stronger than a little bit most cannons, but it will break eventually at some point. Anytime like I could make like a 30-minute video on there at a bit rate of 30 megabits a second because you saw. I don't know if you've seen like a lot of videos at the time that was showing like how to get past the AVC1 codec. Do you remember that codec?
Yeah. Yep.
The stuff that would make anything pixelated whenever movement happens. But then there was a VP9 codec on top of that eliminated that. And there were videos saying that you needed like 5.2 like screen or something like that, and a bit rate of 30 megabits per second, and upscaled to 1440p. That's what I would do for all of my videos, and I needed that beast. So I would make like a 30-minute video, and it would only take me like 25 minutes to encode on the thing that I have now, which was amazing.
Yeah. And like it's people don't get it. And you start to like. I was very lucky recently where I got to give away a graphics card, or 2 graphics cards actually. And I have never ever heard of so many people and what their systems and what they run. And I'm like, wow, you play like serious amount of games and you're running on like a 980. It's like that is an ancient card. How do you even do that? And like the thing, the reality is that that's what they've got to work with. So that's all they do, and they use it. But like I was a 1050 and then I got a 2060. And even at a 2060, it was like 50-50. I'd set the encoding to go for like an hour and a half thing. And I'll be like, I hope it makes it, you know?
Exactly. I hope it makes it.
And then I used to think to myself, if I had infinite money, what content would I made? Because I wouldn't have to be sitting here trying to figure out how the codecs are working, if it's going to make it to there, and if it's going to upload and pixelated or sound and things. Like there's so much to worry about. But it's almost like content creators, we do it all, right? We have to figure all that out ourselves and do it. And
we don't have like editors. We don't hire editors. We don't even make any money. We don't have the money to hire editors. We got to do all this shit ourselves. Exactly.
And when I eventually, when I got the reason I got a graphics card is because NVIDIA were doing a shout out on Twitter at the time, being like, "Hey, tag your friends who need an upgrade," and everyone just tagged them saying, Zombies is trash machine. You can't see any grass in any of the games he's playing. It's awful. And then they just reached out to me and said, "Yeah, we're going to give you one, and we'll give you 2 to give away." And I'm like,
hell yeah.
Well, okay. And I put that, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to save up for a graphics card anymore. I'm going to use that money and upgrade my CPU as well. So I got a brand new 13th gen CPU. It's only an i5, but whatever. But I remember then hitting encode, and it's like, this will be done in 10 minutes. I'm like, not 3 hours? It's like, wow. I'm like, that is... Oh man, some people have this as a normal thing, but man, I felt like it was insane. It's insane to think what was even 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing to think like
now.
What we were forced to work with, and now having less of the limitations.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I've been in the game a long time, but my phone is more powerful than the phone, the computer I used to edit to make commercial television ads.
Oh my God.
My phone is more powerful now. And my phone will shoot in 4K and you can upload it and edit it and everything. You don't even need to plug it into a computer. It's crazy. Anyway, we should talk about what happens next, obviously, in your journey, because I've noticed, it's hard not to, that you're very much into some cosplay now, into some more events and stuff like that. Like, is this going forward? We're going to broaden our horizons. We're getting into a bit of everything, or
sort of. Like it was sort of influenced by Reading the Geek with the stuff that I was dressing up at. That I really wanted to, like, when PAX came up, and it was like the first time it came up out of COVID, like it was going to be a real thing, I decided I really, really, really wanted to do some cosplay. I want to dress up as stuff.
Hell yeah.
And the first one that I did was Jim Carrey's The Mask. And believe it or not, that actually started with a meme.
Okay.
So in the day, when I would jump into Discord calls with people there, I would always go, "How do?" as if I was subconsciously referencing The Mask. And then out of the blue, one person responds saying, "Hey, Rook, when are you doing a Mask cosplay?" I'm like, So then that notion started to become like an obsession that I was like, I really need to see this through, and it's going to be 4 packs.
Yep.
Because a lot of my friends were doing cosplay stuff, and they looked really into it, and I thought, I'm going to do something stupid and enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So that ended up being my cosplay, and because of like all the good reactions, all the best reactions that I got out of it, I wanted to keep doing this. I didn't know like what extent to do it. I guess I wanted to continue doing stuff that was like easy for me to do, because I don't have like any like dexterous ability in these hands. Like I can't sew for shit yet. But I wanted to get some costumes and just dress up in the characters that I would dress up at. In fact, after that cosplay stuff, that actually sort of inspired me to want to bleach my hair. So if you can see right here, this is technically not my, this is probably close to my original hair color. My hair color is actually a lot darker than this, but this is not natural. Yep. Unlike February, I decided to bleach my hair because I sort of wanted a canvas to just dress up however I wanted. And I got that, and I'm able to do the cosplay stuff that I have now, and just like it's sort of like with computers and with getting like NBN from just the dial-up and the broadband internet, just having that release of the limitations just makes everything so much better.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Absolutely, yeah, and it's like I've seen some of your obviously some pictures and stuff for the cons and whatever else, and you're nailing it. You're absolutely nailing it. And
thank you.
I suppose from my perspective, like I see bits and pieces, and like, you know, someone who's obviously doing something they're very passionate about, very positive as well, which is nice. You're not doing it for the fame and the glory. You're doing it because it's something you want to do and it makes you feel good, and that's you know, really what we want to do. I suppose that's when it threw the curveball when I saw in your application you said Beauty and the Geek. I'm like, this guy's not I mean, when they like do that geek, you know, they like you said, they expect you to get the long hair and, you know, look unshaven and kind of look, you know, so they can do the makeover sort of stuff. But man, you had it coming anyway. You know, it's so when I read that, I'm like, was he the beauty? How's that work?
Oh, God.
Because, you know, when you, like, what was it? You did J. J. Jonah Jameson,
yeah.
Oh, man, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. And it's like, and I saw that and I thought, that's hilarious, first of all. That's so good.
That was actually a meme as well, to be perfectly honest.
Good.
Yeah, it was in Aldamon's Discord, where one of the photographers, Kevin Chuong Photography, said, we need to get you as J. Jonah Jameson. They plastered my he plastered my face of one of the Ryuji shoots that I did onto a photo of like the 1950s, 1960s J. Jonah Jameson from the old Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then that notion got stuck in my head, and I thought, I need to do a J. Jonah Jameson cosplay.
Nice.
It's
cool,
it's
though.
like,
it's
I feel like the memes, if something is not worth doing, if it's not going to be spectacular or effing hilarious.
Yeah. My favorite saying is, don't let your memes be dreams. Just make them happen, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And look, it's so much more fun, even if it's an inside joke with like 3 people, it doesn't matter. Because it's so liberating to do something like this was a joke and now what's happening, and it's fun, and it's very rare because people sort of overthink it and you know, they go, I can't do that, or I don't want to look like an idiot or anything like that. And I suppose, again, going back full circle, you know, once you do dumb shit on the television, you're like, this doesn't really matter, does it? No one really cares. You might be an idiot this week, but they'll forget about it, and that's fine. But it doesn't matter if you're having fun. And I think that's one of the big things I get. Like one of the vibes I get from you in particular is that you're just doing stuff you're passionate about and you're happy to do it. And if you can do that and kick all your goals at the same time, then more power to you. It's perfect. And not everyone gets that luxury. Like a lot of people, they get caught up in their thoughts and stuff like that. So I suppose the it's a leading question, but like how, like if people look at you and go, damn, how's he doing it? Like what's your advice to someone who wants to get into doing cosplay and going to cons and playing their favorite games from 20, 30 years ago? And like, where do they start? What are they, where's the hurdles? How do they get in that?
Oh God, I wish I could give you the answer for that. I'm trying to figure it out myself. Where to start? Like, I mean, I was playing old games like back when I was a kid. Like for the Quest for Glory stuff, I had like, I remember having a gigantic, like, I want to say like between 20 to 50 demo disc.
Oh, yes.
Of the Windows 95, 98 era, and Quest for Glory 5 demo was on there. In fact, and fun fact, the full version of Quest for Glory 5 Dragonfire, which was the first like 3D-ish game to come out of that series, the full version didn't have a multiplayer aspect to it, but the demo did. The demo had like online and multiplayer stuff attached to it. Yeah.
Bizarre.
And I played all of that stuff when I was a little kid, and it was a nostalgia part of it that wanted me to get back to it. In fact, a lot of the games that I play now is more of like a retro or indie / nostalgia trip. That's a lot of my content on streams and YouTube, to be perfectly honest.
Yep, and that's, I guess, that's the stuff you want to do. And
that's the stuff I want to do. So you should be. It's gonna be hard for me to say this without turning into a cliche that like everyone would probably do, but I think I might as well do it anyway.
Yeah, just go for it.
Do what you do. Not even like do what you want to do. Do what you think. Do what you can do. Start like small and just work up to stuff like that. Implementing with like stuff that you want to do, because I mean, with us content creators, we can't just like jump into the content creator career. Like we have to do stuff on the side with you, with Miter 10, paying the bills.
Yeah, literally. And
we are like paying our way to make sure we are able to do the stuff that we want to do on camera, either whether it's recorded or on stream or on social media in pictures, any of that stuff. Like, we kind of need to sacrifice a little bit, but not too much. You don't have to sacrifice everything unless you've got like a really big goal, like a really serious goal that you want to get done. Then you kind of like have to balance what you're going to sacrifice and stuff like that. Like, for example, I have had to sacrifice YouTube quite a lot because I've gone into streaming a little bit, but also because I now have a full-time job working at That's All Gifts and Collectibles, because I want to earn the money to move out of the house that I'm currently in now.
You got to pay the bills.
I've been living with my parents for 30 years now. I may not look it, but I am 30. Okay, and I've been spending so long, and I want to move out. I want to make the new year where I actually move out. But in order to do that, I need the money. So I need to sacrifice something to get that money, because I'm not going to be able to do any YouTube stuff. I could probably still do the streaming. That's the one thing I could keep. And I'm glad about that, because I'm able to continue to do the stuff that I want to do. So sacrifice a little bit, but don't forget to do the stuff that you want to do. Keep eking that into your life. That's probably the only advice that I can give. It may not be like useful advice, but it's something to work with.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people Like, and it is a bit of a cliche. They're like, okay, I'm a full-time content creator now. I'm going to quit my job. It's like, don't do that. That's an awful.
Don't do that.
You need money. Everyone needs money to live. You can't be a content creator with no money.
You think that television is a lack of job security? Content creation is a lack of job security. It isn't. It is the antithesis of job security.
Yeah. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. So I think the advice of where to start, do what you can is really
do what
fantastic.
you can.
Do what you can, and and we've gone over it a few times now. Technology these days, you can do a lot with very little. It's more easy than ever to create content, but it's a saturated market out there. So
it really is. Like
you got to do something different, something that you're good at or special. And
God, I feel that so much. Like I was doing YouTube just so I can get 3 years experience with Adobe Premiere Pro and the video editing stuff. I wasn't necessarily doing YouTube just so I could become the next Markiplier or something like that. Because I knew damn well that I never was going to do that. It's a very hard thing for content creators is anytime you do something, there's a pretty damn good chance that you're doing something that everyone else is doing. Like we try.
Yeah.
The question that is really hard to get is, what are you going to bring to the table that's unique that no one has ever done? You can't answer that. You would,
no.
If you look at the entire ecosystem of the ecosystem of content creation, that's a question you can't answer. Everyone is probably doing the same thing that you're doing. So to counteract that, don't give a shit. Just do what you feel you would like to do.
Yeah, and I think it's the important thing, and I think it's lost on a lot of people. They go, okay, well, I want to be big, so I'm going to play the biggest game in the world. I'm going to play Fortnite. I'm going to stream. Like, okay, but there's literally thousands of people streaming
exactly
at any moment, and what makes you special? Unfortunately, you could be amazing, but there'll be still 100 amazing players streaming as well. It's crazy. But then if you were to say maybe you really love Commander Keen and you're going to stream Commander Keen, you'll be the only one. You'd be the only one there streaming it, or maybe two others. Who knows? But
if you like playing,
if there's two other people streaming it, you should probably go make friends with them because they like the things you like. And then
if you like really playing like Mega Man, or if you really like playing Donkey Kong games, which we both do.
We absolutely love. Yeah, I love Donkey Kong. It's that thing where you do what you like because then it doesn't feel like work anymore. But if you're going to go play a game that you think is going to make you successful and you hate it, then it's going to
where's the internal passion in that?
Exactly. So, so it's good advice. It's good advice. Mindful that we do need to wrap things up, but
people want to see you. If I just say one thing, people want to see you having fun. So have fun doing what you want to do. Exactly.
That is, and too many people focus on the numbers side of thing, and they don't look at did I have fun with that kind of side of thing? So, one more thing that we do need to just sort of discuss is, I suppose, what's next? What do you want to? Where do you want to go? Obviously, you've already mentioned that you'd like to move out, get out, and live.
Yeah, moving out is going to be the first task that I have, and then once I've moved out and organize everything, taxes and all of that stuff, everything that I need to do, and a checklist that I myself have to look at. Then after that, I really want to focus on maybe building up my content creation, at least starting with the streaming side. I want to do more stuff with that. I want to do giveaways. I want to maybe work with people if I can. Maybe just do a little bit of graphics design on the side to just make it look a little pretty. I want to build up my streaming stuff, and then maybe if I can work on YouTube stuff, if I can go back into it. I want the creative freedom to just do some stuff without having to be boxed in here, or without anyone else in the house that I have to worry about whether I shout or whether I do something stupid.
Yeah. And then it turns into my house is sometimes it's a content studio. We'll have multiple things happening in this tiny little shoebox apartment. And then I forget that, our neighbors can hear us, and some of the stuff that we won't be saying when we're playing Phasmophobia or something like that, it's very questionable. So but I don't care because it's fun, and it is what it is. But in terms of working with people, what's dream brand? Who's you'd love to work with?
Dream brand. Well, I would like to become a Tokyo Treat ambassador with all the boxes that I buy from them. I'd like to work with Rode a little bit because I do use their microphone. Yep. In fact, I had their entire setup before I implemented the Go XLR. I only bought that mainly for the voice changing stuff, like
a little bit of like this.
But yeah, I love the Rode tech. I love Asus ROG tech. My computer is a little bit of an eclectic mess. It's just whatever I could buy from Aftershock PC at the time. So it's got a mix of Asus, and it's also got a mix of MSI in there. Yeah, and I use a lot of Elgato stuff. Like, I know we were supposed to like stay away from doing any brand promotion stuff that, but that's exactly what it is.
It's more like it's important because a lot of people, and this is just advice from an old head, right? A lot of people, they'll sit back and go, this is my numbers. I'm ready to work whenever you are. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. You need to go to them because everyone else is.
Yeah. Like, I've always thought
it's important to know who you want. Like, if you're in the room and, you've got Nintendo over here and Sony over there and Elgato in the corner, who are you going to go talk to, You gotta know.
Yeah, I would love to like do a little brand thing. I've always felt like where I'm at now, I don't really have like the space or like the space to like generate. I like the space to keep the stuff or the space to generate the enthusiasm to want to get stuff. So that's been, and once I move out, I'm like, you know what? I think I can actually branch out, spread my wings to put it in that way.
I feel the same way about like VR. Like, I'd love to get into VR content. Just don't have the space.
Yeah.
And like, because if I was to do it, I don't want to, do a dinky thing in the corner or anything. I want to do like live in space, green room kind of stuff. And I'm like,
oh, that'd be cool.
It'd be so cool. But it's like, until then, I'm never going to go, knock on, whoever and ask for a VR headset. 'Cause I can't do that content. And I can't give them anything of value really back rather than saying, I really like your stuff and it's fun. But yeah, it's important to sort of know your goals and aspirations of what you're going to do. And I feel like you've got some good ones. Getting out there is a big one, especially in this economy. But it's like, understanding that there's no point asking for something you can't use if you haven't got the space for it is also a big thing, because there's also those people that just go, free computer, please. And it's like, oh, hang on, what are you going to do? You need a plan here.
Where are you going to put it?
Yeah, it's one of those things. And I've had opportunities come across me and I go, look, I can't. I'm not the right guy for this. And a lot of time I'll be like, I know this person though. If you go talk to this person, they are well and truly suited to what you're asking for. And 9 times out of 10 it'll work out. But it's like, it's important to sort of know your playground, your sandpit where you like to play, and set boundaries and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's good. Well, look, we do need to wrap things up. We've gone through a lot of topics, actually. Crazy. I feel like I know a lot more about you, which is awesome. I hope that the people that listen sort of get a lot more about you as well. Where can people find you? Where are you streaming? What is your handles?
Yep. So currently I'm trying to do a stream like once a week. My handles are, my main one right now is Twitch. It's the Average Rook. That's TheAveragEROK. I'm on there on Twitch. I'm also that on Instagram and Twitter/X. And I'm also that technically on TikTok. I'm doing a tiny bit there, just mainly Tokyo Treat reviews whenever I can record them. That's pretty much where I am. You can also search for all of my socials at beacons.ai/theaveragerook. Everything is basically there.
Perfect. You got it all figured out. Well done. That's it. Excellent stuff. Well, thank you so much for volunteering to be on one of the few first episodes, which is always a little bit daunting, both for you and me. So that's good.
Well, thank you for having me. I had a lovely time.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Who knows? We might do like a follow-up in the future and see, we'll beam into your, probably a content house at that point. Who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows? But yeah, and look, if you are watching this on YouTube, please leave a like and a comment. If there's any kind of creator that you would like to see on the show, by all means, put them in the comments. I'm more than happy to reach out to them. Even if they say no, I will still ask them. And they might say yes, and they might end up in the show, which would be awesome. But until then, keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.